creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
In London, let's see if they recognize me. It's time to put on my disguise.
Yeah, okay, Shaq.
Out there?
They're making a space, but they need 2-3 minutes and only outside.
So far, nobody has recognized me yet.
Incognito Shaq? Come on, man. I recognize you from Indonesia. Oh, or maybe the diamond chain that says Shaq give it away.
If you want to know how much carbs you should eat, very simple. You go buy some salty crackers, Saltine or another brand. You take it home, you take your iPhone, you put the saltine cracker on your mouth, and you set the timer. How long does it take to change from salty to sweet? For my brother's fiance, it took 2 seconds to go from salty to sweet. For me, it takes 30 seconds. The longer it takes to turn salty, it means it's something to do with amylase. That's what the geneticist Mola told me. And so for me, I need to be a little lower on carbs. I don't have as much natural amylase. And so do it 2 days in a row to double check. And if you're at 2 seconds, like my brother's fiance, Cha-Cha, she needs to eat a lot of carbs. And by the way, he told me, I said, is there a fancy test I can pay $10,000 and I'll do this? He goes, believe it or not, you'll get better results from a saltine cracker. Our modern genetic tests are not better than the saltine cracker test.
I bought saltines, ate the whole box, and they were sweet right away. Turns out they were donuts.
This jury on my arm is real. Don't love me because of no diamonds. Take all this. This bracelet right here look real as a. This shit was $23 on Amazon.
You said, look.
Are those earrings real? No.
You can't tell.
You know why it's not real? Because I've lost so much of this. I done spent $500,000 on the. Call Jacob the jeweler. I'm good. I don't lose no sleep over trying to win the popularity contest from showing up with all this jewelry that I'm going to leave on a nightstand and have a housekeeper to say, I don't know. I'm sure you don't know. I'm sure you don't know what them $250,000 $250,000 earrings is at. I don't know. We looked everywhere. I'm sure you looked everywhere. That motherfucker retired 2 weeks later. Hey, sure. Hey, these motherfuckers they paying me back to this day. You know how much goddamn jewelry I lost?
Tyree's new album.
He says, then she retired 2 weeks later. That's so funny. Hey, somebody find the link to that $23 bracelet.
See stuff like that in food in the UK. Oh,
it cuts so easily. The knife just slides through.
Whoa. I know you're from where you're from.
We're foreign. What we don't know what we're doing.
Stop with the knives.
No, you don't need a knife?
No, you pull it apart with your hand. And listen, hold up. And you take your fingers and you lift that up and you eat it.
Okay.
Not with a fork.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry.
Enjoy holding your food and eating it like that.
I
It's
do.
okay
I
here to
love
do it.
eating with
Okay.
hands. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. No.
I'm sorry I let it get that far.
No. Our
Yeah.
mistake completely.
We're not used to meat being soft enough to just rip it apart without a knife.
Okay.
I mean, that's not normal. Mate, cheers.
Cheers.
It's the best ribs in America. Oh my
gosh. Oh, oh my gosh. Wait, what?
It is the most succulent meat with the most beautiful glaze.
Can you see how cleanly that's come off the bone? You see that? I'm sorry, I completely lost for words. The initial taste is this beautifully sweet, savory.
I love seeing people from the UK taste flavor for the first time. They're so proper. Here in Indonesia, we eat with our hands like cavemen.
You will receive payment for your services from Eddie.
Nobody pays you in the mafia to kill or to do anything. Occasionally in our life, we would have people like a Roy DeMeo or a gas pipe. I guess they did so many murders, they became serial killers. We don't accept that. Roy DeMeo was killed for that reason. That's how we expel you. We kill you. If you're a child molester, we will kill you. If you're a rapist, we will kill you. The women in our neighborhood, whether they know it or not, are our people. It's our neighborhood. We protect them. You cannot come in our neighborhood and rape a woman. I don't give a what you think. We will kill you.
I trust the mafia before the government nowadays.
If I told you this was happening in 2024, would you believe me? Let me tell you how crazy this is. In Aurora, Colorado, there's a Venezuelan gang that has taken over 2 apartment buildings. I kid you not, the landowner has contacted the local authorities. They said there's nothing they can do about it. That's squatter laws, bro. I kid you not, look this up. Number 2, he went to the FBI. They said there's nothing they can do. And he even went to the marshals, y'all. And this Venezuelan gang has taken over the apartment building. They're charging the tenants inside rent money like they're the landlords. Meanwhile, the real landlord can't get these people evicted. All the people that's leaving the apartment buildings, as soon as they leave, these Venezuelan gang members are just moving in more gang members to a point where they are taking over the building with guns. It's no more security there. Like, look this up right now. And this is exactly what I was talking about like 2 weeks ago. Oh, not even 2 weeks ago on a couple of my videos. This is what they want. Attack within. Y'all better stay safe. Y'all better stay safe. This is what they want. For the country to be attacked from within. Black people versus the brown people. Let them fight it out. You see what I'm saying? Y'all better stay safe. It's getting crazy out here. Because it's going to get to a point where it's going to start affecting you. You may not live in Aurora, Colorado, but the fact that it's happening, man, this is crazy. Y'all better stay safe. Man. I've been seeing videos about the same Venezuelan people be in the stores looking to kidnap people and child trafficking. It's going to shambles. And y'all telling me Trump ain't needed? And y'all telling me Trump ain't needed? Come on now. Go look this shit up. This shit ain't no joke, bro. They're literally securing the area with guns. They're not even, like, it's crazy. It's getting crazy. Stay prepared. TTG. Time to go.
This is the second video I've seen about these apartments in Aurora. You know, why the authority and the government won't do anything about this? This is so crazy.
Did you hear what the surviving crew members had to say about the sunken yacht off the coast of Sicily? First of all, if you didn't know, allegedly every single person's body has been recovered that didn't survive on this yacht, except for Lynch's daughter. And make sure you watch the entire video because this gets more and more interesting. But supposedly no one recalls seeing the mast snap on board the sailing yacht. The eyewitness account of a crew member on board the vessel said that the boat was struck by a freak weather event which led to the yacht heeling at around 20 degrees to starboard. But this is the most important part. As crew members were securing items, the heeling angle began to increase rapidly until the yacht started sinking. Now, I don't know if you've heard the rumor of the submarine, but I'm not gonna say too much. But the crew members who were up on the deck were able to evacuate the yacht with minor injuries. And the yacht is understood to have sunk in just 12 minutes. So you're telling me that a water spout did that? I mean, David Hutchinson, right, the captain, said that he had taken the yacht around the world multiple times and he had, in quotations, total faith in the boat. He said that, in quotations, we've been to Antarctica and Chile and we've had her in 70 knots of wind. And the vessel had never allegedly put them in a situation that felt unmanageable. And as far as I know, these kind of yachts are capable of enduring these kind of weather conditions. And then you have the fact that Mike Lynch was embroiled in a protracted legal battle with Hewlett Packard, right? I'm sure everybody knows about this by now, but if you don't, after the US tech giant accused him of inflating autonomy's value in an $11 billion sell, and he was extradited from Britain to the US last year to stand trial over the HB allegations. And the boat trip was a celebration of Lynch's acquittal, according to various media reports. But then you have this right here, and this is the most interesting part. Stephen Chamberlain, Lynch's co-defendant in the trial who was also acquitted, reportedly died after being hit by a car while jogging on Saturday just 2 days before the wreckage. And Chamberlain and Lynch faced the same exact fraud charges for allegedly trying to inflate the company's revenues beginning in 2009, allegedly partly in order to lure a buyer. And following an 11-week trial, the jury acquitted Lynch and Chamberlain on all 15 felony counts that could have resulted in a 20-year prison sentence if found guilty. I mean, let's keep in mind that Clifford Chant's lawyer Chris Morvillo and his wife Netta were also in this wreckage that did not survive. And let's keep in mind, Chamberlain was also the COO of Darktrace. Darktrace's product uses unsupervised machine learning techniques to build an intrinsic pattern of life, in quotations, for every network device and user within an organization. From this evolving understanding of normal, it can then detect potential threats as they emerge in real time. It employs an autonomous response technology. How ironic, autonomous, right? Like I just said, Lynch was embroiled in a protracted legal battle with Hewlett Packard after being accused of inflating autonomy's value in an $11 billion sale. Wonder where you got that name from. But that response technology is called Anti-Gina to take action against in-progress cyber attacks. The product also visualizes network activity on a user interface called the Threat Visualizer. Jonathan Bloomer also had another company as well. It was called Hiscox. Offers a crime insurance policy that covers a wide range of fraud risk, including cyber fraud, extortion, and virtual currencies. Hiscox's commercial crime insurance also covers the loss of money and securities at a business, bank, or home. There's a lot surrounding this situation right now that's just got me turning my head like, And I'm not gonna say too much, but this entire situation just has me so intrigued, especially after the OceanGate situation. I mean, I tried opening up people's eyes about that situation and they tried suppressing me immediately. But nonetheless, I'm gonna try to dig as far into this as I possibly can, because the money world is a whole different reality.
You know, the weirdest thing is all the crew was up on deck when all of the guests were sleeping. And I thought Hannah's body was found. It was reported on Irish TV that she was found.
This is a slumlord issue. No. It doesn't matter what issue you want to say. Venezuelan prison gangs took over a 99 apartment unit complex. And instead of sending the money to the landlord, they were collecting the rent. And then it comes out that the city council actually says, well, that's not the only apartment complex. There are several that they have taken over in Aurora, and now they run it all. Now, and you're having broad daylight armed robberies of jewelry stores in Aurora and outside of Denver. Look, Denver's collapsing. Denver has 700,000 people live inside Denver metro area. 70,000 of that 700,000 are illegal aliens. And you think they're going to stay in? No, they're going to bleed out. They're bleeding out to Aurora right now. Where else are they going to go in the metro area?
They straight let them take it. What a shame.
Y'all, our future is about to be so dark, nothing's going to make sense no more. It's already starting right now. You see what's going on in the world. China, Russia, Ukraine, US, like everywhere, globally, weather, technology. People think this shit is a game, bruh. It's not a game. Once you see what they're doing to mug shots, bruh, and this is just the beginning, you're gonna be like, what the bruh, look at this shit. Look, y'all. So they're taking mug shots and they're doing this with them. And this is just the beginning. This shit look real as This is just the beginning, bruh. Just listen to this real quick. Say you at home, right? You with your family. You eating dinner. You know you was at home. And then you turn on the news and you see yourself committing a murder. Knowing you was at home. Your family knew you was at home. But at the same time, you committed a murder. Because of this technology, bruh. I'm telling y'all. 2024 is wild. 2025 is going to be extreme. Y'all, man, I don't know. Y'all better be blessed up, bruh.
This is only the beginning. Book of Revelations says it's not going to get any better.
Indonesian guy escaped the slums of Southeast Asia to build a $1.4 billion fish farm startup. Gibran Huzaifa grew up poor in Jakarta and worked odd jobs to pay his way to college. He'd sleep on campus or in mosques, and at one point went 3 days without eating. His light bulb moment came when Gibran attended an aquaculture class. He was fascinated by lectures on catfish breeding and immediately rented a pond to start farming catfish, juggling it with his studies. By the time he graduated in 2012, he was managing 76 ponds and knew the challenges faced by fish farmers like high feeding costs and low profits. So in 2013, Gibran launched eFishery, developing an automatic fish feeder. But it took him 97 days to get his first customer and 9 months for the first 10 to sign up. Many farmers agreed out of pity rather than belief in the product. eFishery also faced rejection from investors in its early years. Farmers eventually began seeing the benefits of the automatic feeder. Today, eFishery serves 70,000 fish and shrimp farmers across 280 cities in Indonesia. Their tech is used in about 300,000 ponds. In 2023, eFishery raised $200 million, led by Abu Dhabi-based 42X Fund, reaching a valuation of $1.4 billion and becoming the world's first aquaculture unicorn.
Bro saw a problem and stick to it. His success was unlocked by pure determination. Amazing.
Artists who were forced to wear the dress Part 6, Busta Rhymes. Did he participate in a public humiliation ritual at his recent concert? Busta Rhymes, a legendary figure in hip-hop, shocked fans at a recent concert by stepping on stage in a bold red dress. Some fans saw it as a daring fashion statement, but others have whispered that it could be something more, a possible initiation or humiliation ritual, the kind we've seen before in the entertainment industry. The concept of humiliation rituals isn't new. Some claim that powerful elites force celebrities to undergo public embarrassment as a way to assert control or signal allegiance to secret societies. Could Busta Rhymes, a veteran in the rap game, be making a statement? Or is he being pressured by forces behind the scenes, proving that even the most respected artists aren't immune to these so-called rituals? Busta's career has spanned decades, and he's known for his larger-than-life persona and outlandish style. But why a dress? And why now?
I know.
Some believe it's part of a broader agenda to blur gender lines and emasculate powerful black men in entertainment. Others think it could be a symbolic gesture, possibly signaling a new phase in his career or even a deeper message hidden in plain sight. But here's the real question. Was Busta Rhymes' choice of a red dress just a bold fashion move, or is it another piece in the puzzle of a much larger secretive agenda? You be the judge. Don't forget to follow and keep our content alive.
Yep, he is participating with the rest of them.
I would strap about 20,000 at a time on my waist, up and down, all the way around, and whatever couldn't fit, I would put on her. My girlfriend at the time, I learned through TSA, as soon as you catch TSA on the beginning of their shift where no one pissed them off, that you were able to get by quicker and faster with less static, meaning they wouldn't pat you down as aggressively as they would is if you caught them in the middle or end of their shift. So I booked my flight at the beginning of their shift, and I told her, I said, hey, look, just when you go in, just act normal. Let me go first. And if something happens with me, turn around and run. I went through and they patted me down. The TSA felt the money all the way around because he hit the belt line. And I don't know how and why or what he was on. Maybe he didn't care, or God, whatever. But it's just, he did this to my waistline to pat my waist and went down to each leg and said, clear. I looked back at her and I just looked back forward. I just kept moving like everything was normal. And then they did it to her and nothing.
I'm assuming this was like 15 years ago before they had full body scanners.
A couple of weeks ago, I talked about people on TikTok talking that there was a artificial sun placed.
Yeah, during the solar eclipse.
Yeah. Did you know there's actually Russia developed a satellite that mimics an artificial sun?
Really? For what purpose?
I'll tell you. So this space engineer, his name Vladimir Siromanikov, came up with this concept of this giant satellite that would open up and have these mirrors on it that would mimic the sun. And the whole point of it was to help with farming in Soviet Russia at the time. It ended up getting supposedly decommissioned, but they said that this satellite was capable of spontaneously igniting buildings and cities and drying up lakes and rivers. They tested it in France too at night, and they said it was 50 times stronger than a full moonlight.
Oh my gosh.
The satellite was called Znamya. I'm convinced that we're still using it in some capacity. And I only say that because we talked about DEWs, direct energy weapons, and like, can they not use that to start fires?
Yeah.
I'm convinced that they figured out a better way to use it.
Yeah.
Think about the Canada fires that we covered last year. It's like just, guys, there's two suns.
Okay.
Did you know that there is a former bank employee going around on TikTok explaining people how to basically legally scam into getting a property? Okay, so basically I watched all his videos. Like, he goes down into literally what banks to use, but this is what it is. In Canada, we have like two major credit checking systems, Equifax and TransUnion. Equifax and TransUnion are actually not friends. So therefore, you are going to get different scores from Equifax, and different scores from TransUnion. Now, with that being said, he wants you to bring your credit score to at least 720 or higher. Then he gives you a list of banks to go sign up at every bank for a line of credit, because it's going to take time for one bank to realize that you've applied for another one and another one and another one. This part is all fully legal. You could go apply for as many lines of credit as you want. Now, here's the shady part. If you go and get all those loans from these banks, he then gives you a second list of banks that work on the other credit system. So as long as you go and buy your property and apply for your mortgage before Bank B finds out about Bank A, you can literally have like $100,000 to $150,000 cash to buy the property and get approved for the mortgage, with literally just a credit score of 720 and the same job for 2 years. This is why no one can get houses. This is why the housing market is going crazy, because people are doing stuff like this. And the only downfall when everybody realizes, oh, they borrowed from us, they borrowed from you, is a bad credit score. Your credit goes down. Then you pay it and...
This isn't a hack, I fear. How are you going to pay back all those lines of credit, on top of mortgage and all other bills?
Watch these two separate events, and you tell me if they are the same.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Right, so I mean, so it's...
Bro, what the What? Why isn't my phone focusing?
What do you think?
Do you believe? What do I think? Those are drones.
Indian guy tried to build a better Zendesk from India. Today, his $13 billion company is the first Indian SaaS to list on NASDAQ. In 2010, Girish Mathrubootham worked as VP of Product Management at Zoho Corporation when his TV arrived broken after moving from the US to India. After months of trying to get compensation from customer service, Girish saw how a better help desk would have solved this issue. At the same time, he read a Hacker News article about Zendesk raising their prices, which made customers unhappy. A comment saying someone should make a cheaper, easier help desk caught Girish's attention. Despite having a stable job and financial commitments, Girish decided to take the leap. He asked his colleague Shan Mugam Krishnasamy to join as co-founder, and they started Freshdesk with 6 people. He initially worked on the weekends, then quit Zoho to work on Freshdesk full-time. The company faced significant early challenges. They worked from Chennai in India and had trouble incorporating in the US and building credibility as a global company. They were also accused of being a Zendesk ripoff, which Freshworks countered with a viral marketing campaign. They acquired their first customer just 3 days after launch and reached 100 customers in 100 days. Freshdesk added more products and rebranded as Freshworks in 2017. In September 2021, Freshworks made history by becoming the first Indian SaaS company to list on NASDAQ, raising just over $1 billion with a valuation of $13 billion. Today, Freshworks serves over 68,000 businesses worldwide and has grown to more than 5,000 employees.
Very impressive.
This is a fresh story out of Haiti. That's right, the land where the dead never rest. What we have on the screen here is one of the greatest police officers that ever existed in Haitian history. His name is Jean-Ines Miscadin. Well, what's going on is that these are 2 gang members that were going to be buried. Well, let's just say this. They terrorized the population of Haiti enough. Well, Jean-Ines Miscadin had enough. They were going to bury the bodies in Okai. Well, in the midst of it, the bodies being transported to the location, he figured, well, we're not going to give these guys a chance to rise from the dead. So what he did was arrested both of these criminals. So they will not be having an early rival to Lucifer. Moral of the story, crime doesn't pay.
I don't understand what is going on here.
Most people are conditioned that lottery is structured so that if you're lucky, you win. Most of the time, you're not lucky. So people don't look beyond that.
It was the numbers, wasn't it? They were adding up for you.
It was the numbers and the fact that I did not have to be lucky to win. I had to be unlucky to lose.
What?
And once Jerry worked out how often the jackpot went off, he decided to put his maths to the test. You were very tentative about that first bet. I mean, the mathematics was there. You'd worked it out. Why were you nervous?
I think what was making me nervous is trying to believe myself. I think it was so easy that it was hard for me to believe.
After some weeks secretly tippy-toeing to the bank, withdrawing their hard-earned retirement cash to buy more tickets, Jerry decided he had to tell Marge. This, too, made him nervous.
Well, I knew it was time to tell her because my next play was going to be $15,000.
Ooh.
I saw Don Lemon is running around right now. He's doing man-on-the-street interviews, but he's talking to people and he's asking them who you're supporting. And he's getting a lot of people saying, Trump, I'm voting for Trump. A lot of black people.
Trump for the win. I support Trump.
And in one, he confronts the guy who says, I was better off financially under Trump. And he says, that's not true.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden.
He just left.
Don Lemon, no, you were happier. He's like
when Trump wasn't president.
He's like fact check false. Fact check. False.
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because I watched CNN.
I had high hopes for Don, but he learned nothing.
The giveaway was his interview with Elon Musk.
That doesn't mean a lot to a whole lot of people who aren't able to take advantage of the opportunities that you were able to take advantage of, simply because the color of your skin.
Ooh. I was like, oh, so I guess he truly believes this nonsense. It was a total disaster. It was really embarrassing, actually.
Bro arguing with someone about his own financial status.
Let's talk about some more of the craziest things people confess to before passing, part 10. This is Sharon Diane Crawford Smith, and 2 months before passing, she confessed to being the perpetrator of a 40-year-old cold case. Sharon says that on April 11th of 1967, she walked into the ice cream shop where she was a part-time worker and would shoot both Constance Smoot Hebner and her sister-in-law, Carolyn, in the head. She also stole $138, then fled the scene. She said she gave the pew-pew to Detective David Bocock, and then together they buried it. Her motive for doing this was because they made fun of her for liking women. Sharon moves away, has 2 daughters, then years later, she returns to Virginia and moves in with a woman. Sharon had even taken a polygraph test and passed, but yeah, in November of 2008, she dropped this confession, and 2 months later, she'd pass. Next up, we have a woman who says her mom was in her final days, and she was sitting bedside with her when her mom would confess to her that not only is she adopted, but she got her from the Chinese black market.
Wow.
And after getting her from this underground trafficking ring, her mom never knew if the parents willingly gave her up or if she was stolen.
Some things are better left unsaid and unknown.
This guy steals the world's most expensive bottle of vodka one day. It was worth $1.3 million and was secretly located at a pub in Denmark called Cafe 33. Now, if you're wondering why this was kept inside some random pub, it had been a gift to Cafe 33's owner from the Russian car CEO Leonard Yankelevich. Since the existence of this $1 million vodka was secret, the owner, Brian Ingberg, figured that it would be perfectly safe. But this thief somehow finds out, and he manages to break into Cafe 33 one night and steal it. Both the pub owner, Brian, and the Russian CEO, Leonard, were obviously pretty worried and very desperate to get it back. But a few days later, police suddenly found this most expensive bottle of vodka just sitting on a random construction site, now completely empty. You see, the thief had apparently just drunk all the vodka inside, thinking that the quality of the vodka is what made this bottle so expensive. He then just threw away the bottle after. But what this thief had no idea was that the vodka inside was really likely just some cheap Russian vodka. What really made this bottle worth $1.3 million was the fact that it contained 7 pounds of gold, 7 pounds of silver, and it was encrusted with countless diamonds. So the thief could have just melted this bottle down and made a killing off of selling the raw gems and materials. But he didn't, and Brian luckily was able to just get the bottle back and refill it. He said that
there's 4 names. I won't give the names. They're all above 60 and they've all made money and they're all famous and they've all been through a lot of different girls. You know every one of the names if I tell you. And none of them have kids, and they're 4 of the most bitter, famous men I meet. Then you watch them, you're like, how did you get here? How did you become like this, right? So the highs when you go and you make, I've had the exit, money hits the account, $200 million, feels amazing. You know, private jet travel, go spend $500,000, have a great time, unfreaking believable. The people that said you'd never make it, you win, and they come back and say to your face, I fucked up, you made it, respect to you. You know, the teacher who said in school you should, you know, I feel sorry for your parents because of who you were in high school, 1.8 GPA, and then 6 years later you're coming to speak at the school and they're introducing you were the 1 point, these are all good highs. Brother, nothing, no high comes close to, nothing comes close of having kids, man. There's something very special about it.
George Clooney, Matthew McConaughey, Bill Maher, then you could toss in Leonardo DiCaprio and Ben Affleck.
I want you to watch this interaction he has with this mother of this soldier. I want you to just watch this thing. And I'm telling you, this is exactly how he is in the real world. And this is what they're afraid of, his change on the political culture. Watch this.
It's unusual. Yeah, I know a lot of guys usually are in pretty rough shape, right? Beautiful job you
Thank
do.
you so much. Thank you.
I want to look like that guy.
Mr. President, my son is going into the Army next month.
Wow.
Can I get a photo, please?
Come on, get over here. He'll end up being a general.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Go ahead.
Can I have
When you
it?
get back in office, can I get an internship? I think you could. Is this your mom?
Yeah. May I have the honor to
That's
hop
how you
in?
turn out this way. Come on, let's go.
Thank you.
I like him.
I promise you I'm not name dropping, folks. I promise. It's stupid and you sound like a loser. But I've had the pleasure of a few distinct experiences with Mr. Trump here. That is exactly how he is.
Had to put the defroster on, then you could start it and then you could start driving, but you couldn't open it without the with the car driving. And then what would happen is the back seat would go and it opened. And then you'd have to do another sequence because it's a aircraft grade aluminum, so it's lighter, right? And so the compressors compress all of the air out because the dog smells the air, the molecules of air from the cocaine, or the money that was near the cocaine that is cocaine on the money. So the compartments are sealed shut, right? And so now, just because you can get to them doesn't mean that you can open them. So now you got to hit another button for it to decompress. And now it decompresses. Now, but you can't rush it. Now when it decompresses, then you can open up the tanks and get the work out. But if I'm looking at the car, I know what to look for. Because you got to think, if you got 100 kilos, 2.2 pounds per kilo, right? That's an extra 220 pounds. If you really looked at the car, I know that the car is off a little bit on the left because that's where the work is, right? The driver's on that side and there's that side. And if you look at limos, most limos that are J with the cross right here, J style limos, if the people on this side, that's the side of the lean to slightly. So you're looking at that like, is it too much? Is it too off? You're looking at champagne buckets. You're looking at the carpet. A crumb could be when they took it out the bag, that crumb hit the ground and they put it in the spots. But that crumb, I've actually tasted crumbs and my tongue started getting numb because it was cocaine.
That's crazy. And Mitch probably mad this guy telling his secrets.
Other eyewitnesses claim to have seen strange, very tall men, accompanied by glowing spheres of light, walk right out of the solid rock door onto the ground, and even then walking on to Lake Titicaca.
Kneeling there in the doorway and put your forehead on it, it'll be very hard to breathe.
Wow.
Your eyes are closed, you're going to feel like you're falling. That third tone, you have to do this over and over until you get it just right. But suddenly, it felt as though I was moving through something. I could sense that there was an impedance there. I squeezed my eyes closed because it was just so much pressure. It was hard to breathe again. And then suddenly, I find myself on this floor. I guess it's a floor, but it was just a big white, everything was white. So then I started hollering, is anybody here? Where am I? Hello? And I still wasn't walking, I wasn't moving. Figured the best thing I could do is stay where I'm at. And it was just about the second time that I hollered that there was this voice, and it was like it was coming over an intercom. The person's voice came on, it was a man, and he sounded a little surprised. So I asked him, where am I? And he says, who are you? And so I said, well, I'm Jerry Wills. Where are you from? And I said, well, I was at the doorway at Arumuru. Said that I was on another world, that it was outside of my universe.
Let me know how you feel about this in the comments.
There is a crazy scientific development happening right now in the world of Christianity, and you have to see this. You might recognize this as the Shroud of Turin, which is an incredibly famous relic or artifact in church history as potentially the burial cloth in which Jesus Christ was actually wrapped after his crucifixion and death. And new scientific analysis actually has proven that this piece of cloth was first made around 2,000 years ago exactly, coinciding with the time that Jesus was said to have been alive, crucified, buried, and risen from the dead. Skeptics have said for a very long time that there's no way this could be real for a lot of reasons, but namely, in 1988, scientists took a tiny piece of this cloth and put it through carbon dating, and they discovered that the artifact was dated somewhere between the year 1260 and 1390 AD. So certainly not ancient and definitely not dated to the time of Jesus Christ. But nobody could figure out certain aspects of the Shroud of Turin that have baffled scientists for decades. There is no pigment or dye anywhere on this piece of cloth. The image itself seems to be a discoloration of the fibers of the cloth, and the image appears way more clearly as a photographic negative when you reverse the image rather than if you just look at it as it sits. Then historians started analyzing the makeup of the image itself and found traces of the crown of thorns, the scourging, a piercing in this person's side, both hands being pierced, and nails, a single nail pierced through both feet. Wild. Like, chills. Then later on, scientists analyzed the nanoparticles of the cloth itself and revealed extremely high levels of creatinine and ferritin, which are compounds found in patients who suffer extreme trauma like torture, meaning this image was probably projected somehow by an individual who was a victim of a real crucifixion. And now new X-ray analysis that is highly more accurate than the carbon dating done in the 1980s has shown that this piece of cloth is 2,000 years old. I get really frustrated and frankly quickly dystopian about the problem side effects with artificial intelligence, but somebody decided to use AI to change this image into the face of what this person actually looked like. And if this doesn't give you chills, I don't know what could.
Wow.
God is so good.
I would love for the shroud to be real, but I do not need it to be. My faith is sufficient.
Did you guys see the Amish girl doing a Meg
Look at
Stallion
that.
video? The Amish. Now, you know what the Amish are. The group of people, I think they're in like Pennsylvania. They're like in Bumblefuck. And they live like old school ways. You know what I mean? That's like the original, probably like the original America, original white America. Just old, like in the 1800s, they got the horse and buggy. The dudes got the beards and the girls wear these weird, the little hats with the little cup in the back. It's not a yarmulke, but it's a thing with the string. It's almost like a do-rag, but it doesn't really fit. And then they wear these like maid outfits, almost like these maid outfits. Just, it's a weird subservient uniform that they wear, you know, but it's not polygamous. No, they only go with one wife. They have Amish markets. I've been to those. Those are really good. So the Amish they're around us, but they're not. But they don't live like us. But I think they're very, very old school. I think they probably read by candlelight, shit like that. But this girl was dancing, unless it's fake, unless that's a costume. But I don't think they would play games like that. She was killing that shit. She killed that shit. I gotta give her credit. She killed that dance. Black culture is everywhere. No one can resist black culture. We seep into everybody's life. Look at that. Meg the Stallion has reached the Amish. Can you believe that? This girl done left the butter unchurned. That's right. You know the husband's like, well, what happened to the butter? You were supposed to churn butter. What were you doing out there shaking your ass, being ratchet? Huh? I don't know. I don't think that's how they talk, but I didn't know they got to dance. I didn't know that they were allowed. Or maybe she snuck out of the cabin, you know, and said, I gotta make this. I gotta feel free. I have to make this Meg the Stallion. Or maybe the husband said, Meg the Stallion? We have a stallion named Meg. Probably the same person. Who knows? I love it. As long as it's a horse, I'm okay with that because that's what we use for transportation. I gotta give her credit. She killed that shit. See, that's what the black culture is all about. Freedom and expression, right? Yeah, I see you Amish trying to be blackish.
I would have loved to buy from the Amish market when I visited America.
How much money were you sitting on at your height in terms of liquid?
The most I ever had cash was like 3.2 million cash.
Okay.
You know, and then all my property, you know, my property holdings, my cars, and things like that. I think the government was saying it was like, my property was probably like $8 million worth of property.
Okay. So you had...
Which I wish I had right now.
So you were sitting on over $10 million easily.
Yeah.
$15 million.
But the most valuable thing that I had was not the cash nor the property, it was the cash flow.
Cash flow.
Yeah, see, I had a cash flow of $200,000 a day. Profit. Yeah.
So what were you doing with the money?
Whatever I wanted.
So give me an example of how, you know, you weren't spending money on being flashy. What were you spending?
Well, you know, like my little partner who with me now, he was with me when he was 14.
Okay.
Now he used to be, his job was when we ride down the street and people run up to me saying, oh, my house know this dude, such and such is in jail and he needs money. Well, he would give them the money. Or when we put up in the gas station, everybody would pull up and want to fill their cars up, then he would take care of that for me. So, you know, I would give away lots of money every day.
Really? How much would you give away in a day?
I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 40,000 some days.
You would give away up to $40,000 in a day?
Yeah, I give away a lot of cocaine like that too.
Oh, you just give cocaine away?
Well, I found out, right, that I could build my clientele base like that. Say, for instance, I would take a key of cocaine And I would just give out ounces to people who coming up talking about they trying to get put down. I mean, people every day, people would come up to me. Well, you know, it's like you in the music business. You know, how many times somebody come to you, oh man, I got a hit record.
Right.
So I would throw my ounce and say, prove it.
Boom, here's an ounce.
I didn't even start with an ounce. I would give my story. I started with an 8-track. And it wasn't even a real 8-track. It was boo-boo.
Right.
But I took that and I came up off of it. So here you an ounce of the bomb. And the best price in town. Ain't nobody can give you a better price than it.
Right. And you front it to him.
Give it to him.
Yeah, that's yours.
You ain't even got to come back. It's up to you. Come back or don't come back.
What percentage of people actually came back?
2 or 3 out of 10.
Right, because they would smoke it, party with it.
Spend it, go sell it, and then go buy a car.
Yeah.
Or go buy some tennis shoes or gold change. But what I found out though is the 1 or 2 who did would pay for everything.
Right, could cover the losses with all this.
They would cover my losses, you know. So, you know, and I got a couple really good kids like that. You know, a couple guys became millionaires out of that same program.
Do you know? We have to remember this was 40 years ago when $1 million was still an insane amount of money.
Know where public schools buy their food from for lunches?
Cisco.
Bali. From the Department of Defense.
The DOD?
The DOD. It's a total scheme to where Department of Defense, they go out to these food companies and they get the contracts and then they turn around and sell it to the public school systems. And so like they are in complete control over this profit line.
Oh, that's scary.
I think they said that the school lunches is the only thing that's profitable in public schools.
That would make sense.
But like the school doesn't have a say in what they can get for lunch. They are totally dependent on the Department of Defense to provide the food.
Interesting.
It's just weird.
That
It's
is
like
super weird.
Department of Defense controlling the school lunches I thought was super weird.
And also, why would you want to monopolize that?
Just the man wanting to get some moolah.
Moolah, moolah. Or what are they putting in that food?
Yeah.
Any type of freaking chemicals they want. MK Ultra.
Brainwashing.
You know what the K stands for? Kindergarten.
Oh.
Dang. Middle school, M.
Come on, man.
This is the approximate number of prescription pills one would have to ingest to kill them. This is the amount of heroin the average person would have to ingest to kill them. Fentanyl?
Oh.
You're going to have to bring that camera up here real close to
Very dangerous.
See it. This much fentanyl would kill you and I.
Wow.
If we split it.
No.
They put fentanyl in cocaine. They put fentanyl in heroin. They put fentanyl, as we already know and talked about, into counterfeit pills. It's odorless, it's tasteless, you don't know it's there. And when you find out it's there, it's too late. You won't even know it. You'll be dead. 2,500 people would be killed by that amount of fentanyl. Does that sound like a drug to you? Does that sound more like a poison? I was a police officer for 31 years, and during my time in narcotics, I'd never heard of fentanyl. In homicide, I saw many, many tragic things. I saw people that were killed by shootings, stabbings, beatings. Nothing that I saw at that particular time would have ever prepared me to see Jessica. I was at work. I got a telephone call from my wife, Cherie. She was frantic, uncontrollable, screaming into the phone about Jessica. And I knew something had happened. Jessica lived with her boyfriend, Nicholas. And a stupid decision in which they ordered and had some cocaine delivered to them, to their house, resulted in them ingesting it. And my daughter, at that particular time, became forever 29 years of age. Jessica didn't want to die. She has a beautiful daughter, Alara, who is now with Cherie and I, and we are raising. And she had everything to live for. Jessica knew about fentanyl, you know, from talking about this issue after she died with her friends.
That's crazy.
I discovered that Jessica had a friend that had even died a couple of weeks prior to her death And Jessica had spoken to her friends about being afraid. Well, if you knew about it, why would you even risk it, sweetheart? You knew it. Why did you make that bad decision? Who knows? Those are things that you'll never answer. We're just trying to prevent it from happening to somebody else.
What's going on here? Sounds like Chinese people. Oh. Wow. Ooh. Oh.
Well, it's happened in Nigeria again. The Western media are silent on it again, and this one is one of the worst ones I've seen. Jihadis raided a Nigerian village. They've killed over 50 people, including a 90-year-old woman and an 8-month-old baby. Mercilessly raiding the village on motorcycles and just shooting everything that moved. Indiscriminately killing innocent Christian civilians.
Yeah.
But killing innocent villagers wasn't enough for them. They then went to a Catholic church where they massacred more people who were attending Holy Mass. This is a barbaric and systematic slaughter of Christian people in Nigeria and across other countries in Africa, and there's been not a single peep from any Western news outlet about any of these instances. Well, I'm going to keep reporting on it, so make sure you follow me.
It's crazy how some media won't report anything of this. The people are watching. Anyone from Nigeria would like to drop a comment?
That's why the main goal and the main purpose of everything the keepers do in this world is to ensure that El would return.
El?
In order to do this, they need to create a single egregore that would work for El. And they do everything they can to make the world the way they need, so as to create the necessary conditions for El to awaken.
It turns out that they want to create an El out of some person.
His blood is in each of you, and under certain conditions, each of you can become an El. So yes, when the conditions are created, El will awaken, and the entire power will awaken in him. The thing is that the Eternals may be awakened only with certain technologies, and in order to restore those technologies and capabilities, an El is needed. Look at the current structure of society. Look at what is happening. Do it carefully, and you will begin to see. Track how ideas emerge, which later on become someone's plans, and how they are implemented over time. Someone says something, someone else supports it, and then everything starts rolling. It's like the Overton window, a simple scheme that many people have already heard of. But in fact, everything is much more serious. It's a scheme of the keepers. It is the only reason for all the stupidity and madness that is going on in the world, because even crazy people are incapable of inventing and doing what is happening now.
So, have you seen the Stranger Things? You know the girl, L11?
Apparently, Busta Rhymes is going viral after a former bodyguard spilled the beans, claiming Busta made some seriously strange requests about young men in his VIP club section. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. See, Orlando Brown is out here alleging that Busta is one of the many DL rappers who turned him out. On top of this, 50 Cent has also chimed in, throwing not-so-subtle hints about Busta's secret lifestyle. And now, on top of all that, a bunch of men are stepping into the spotlight, sharing their own stories about how Busta allegedly made inappropriate advances and tried to get them to party with him. It seems like everyone in the industry has been whispering about Busta's escapades for ages, but now it's all coming out into the open.
Okay, Busta, you nasty.
Yeah, everybody knows some rappers be lying about the stuff they do in songs. Some rappers don't though. Meet TK, a 16-year-old kid who took the U.S. Marshals on an insane cross-country chase. Why? Because TK had a problem. And it all started when he gets a call from his friends. They said, yo, TK. He said, what's the word? They said, yeah, we finna go rob this house. He said, let me get my coat. But something was a little strange about this robbery. They got this request from, as stated, a little white girl. That's important. She hits him up and says, yo, I want to rob my boyfriend. When I give you the signal, TK and friends, knock on my door. I'll open it, say, ah, you guys robbed the place. We split the cash. They say word. So TK and his friends are outside the crib waiting. Now, TK's friends have, but he does not. His job is to gather up all the valuable items because he's the youngest. Now, the girl's not answering their calls. They're like, oh, this is weird. She eventually tells him, my bad, there's his roommates here. There's so many more people here than I thought. I was trying to wait till they left. TK's friend said, that's a good plan. Or we can just come in anyway. The girl said, that makes sense. What could go wrong?
That
Something
makes
went wrong.
sense.
As soon as they walk in the spot, it's chaos. There was like 6 people in the house. TK's friends had 6 people with him. They said, TK, continue anyway. So TK's frantically trying to find stuff in the house while his friends have the girl's boyfriend and his roommate at point. Now, I need you to listen closely. Remember when I told you there was a bunch of people in the house? Well, the people consisted of TK and his friends, little white girl and her girlfriends who were actually in on the plan, and then the 2 victims, little white girl's boyfriend and the roommate. Boom! All of a sudden, one of TK's friends, it's the roommate. He says, I don't know what happened. Everyone starts to lose it. The little white girl's boyfriend runs. He grabs his and starts bang, bang, bang. TK's friend gets one in the shoulder and everyone leaves. As you can imagine, the police caught them all pretty quickly. They bring TK in and he's crying. He's telling them the situation, what he was there for and all that. The police said, okay, we're going to send you home on house arrest while we figure out how many decades we're going to give you. TK said, did you just say decades? The police said, well, we was thinking 99 years, but yeah, a decade. TK said, oh no, you must not know. I'm 16. The police said, boy, you know what state you in? Oh, TK was in Texas, known to have some of the strictest laws in the United States. They don't care who was there, what went. Somebody got, y'all all going down. 16? Sounds grown enough to me. TK goes, damn. So he goes home and he's on house arrest. But here's where it starts to get wicked. TK removes his ankle monitor and takes off. The police chief was sitting there chilling. An officer walks in. They said, sir. He said, what? They said, that dude, TK, he did the race. The chief said, all right, we'll get him eventually. The officer said, that's true, sir. But look online. He posting pictures saying, I'm gone. The police ain't never gonna catch me. He's taking pictures with fans. How you think the TikToker got this picture? The chief says, start the car. But see, TK was already out of the state and the Texas police can't just go wherever they want. So they called the U.S. Marshals. But I need you to listen. You can't just call the U.S. Marshals on anyone. They have to be extremely dangerous. Luckily for them, they got another call about TK. TK had allegedly somebody else while trying to take their camera. Another chaotic situation. But this time TK had to... Now remember what I just said? He took a camera. Why? Because he was getting pretty popular online and he also made music, so his songs were getting popular too. He then makes a song called The Race, and I'm not finna lie, that song is a banger, but I digress. After he makes a song, he does not release it though, because he knew he was gonna get caught, and well, he gets caught. After a few months, they bring him back to Texas to stand trial, and that is when he releases the song and the song explodes. Like the song goes platinum, it's everywhere. 21 Savage hops on the remix. Everyone is hearing about this song, including the judge in charge of his case, who basically says, you made fun of us, so we finna get you. Prosecutor said, hey judge, we're gonna use his song against him as evidence. Is that okay? The judge said, I don't see why not. His lawyer said, hey, yo, y'all can't do that. Freedom of speech, freedom of... Prosecutor said, this is Texas. Hey judge, how about we just say he's an adult? The judge said, I don't see why not. His lawyer said, prosecutor said, this is Texas. But here's where it starts to get wickeder. You remember little white girl from earlier? TK's lawyer brings up the fact that she got 20 years, which was changed to 10 months probation. What? His lawyer said, what's the difference between the two of them? In this case, you have two 16-year-olds that didn't anybody. In fact, she planned the whole thing. So technically, he shouldn't get more time, right? The judge said, that does sound fair, but technically, this is Texas.
Texas?
55 years. So TK gets the maximum sentence of 55 years. But something kind of interesting happened. See, I forgot to tell you, every single person, including her girlfriends, all black except for one, got life in prison. So the mother of the person who got said, why are you guys letting her go? They said, oh, she had a traumatic childhood. We'll give her a second chance. So the mother said, what about the other people who had a traumatic childhood? What about people who have traumatic childhoods but don't go around people? Now, let me just say, for the people that have a harder time, I, as well as the mother, are not defending TK's actions. All we're saying is the justice system has to be fair for all. Although from what I read, she definitely did have it rough. TK did have it rough growing up as well, but it might have just seemed standard for a black kid in America to them. But by that logic, they'd have to release the thousands of black kids they try as adults.
So this is one of the reasons you need a father in your life.
Did you become UK's most dangerous inmate?
I've been a shot caller since juvie. Since I bent the bars.
What happened?
I was in the cell watching Bargain Hunt at the time, and the TV went off. And I was absolutely fuming.
Fuming?
So I bent the bars. I shoved my head out and I said a screw and I said, hey, over here, get this TV fixed now. Before I let these go. He'd fixed it in a matter of seconds.
What did the inmates say?
They started a chant. Governor, governor, governor. And after that, I ran the place.
Did you get any challenges?
Most people stayed clear. They'd heard about my rep. Although there was this one mob, the Yakuza.
The Yakuza.
And they tried it on once in the gym.
In Average Jail?
Yeah. They said, give up your title now and we'll let you go. And I said, get out of here now and I'll let you live. There's 27 of them.
Oh.
What happened?
Well, I'd just done chest and arms, so I had a lovely pump on. I was right in the zone. When one came over, he tried to stab me, and the blade snapped.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I can't get injections. My skin's just too hard.
Did you batter all 27?
I can't say too much, but whilst I went back to my room to watch Cash in the Attic, they were unconscious, clinging to life.
I was there. I saw everything. All right, folks, thank you for staying till the end. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Have a prosperous day and God bless.